everyone, it's Kim. Welcome back to my channel, and if you're new to my channel, welcome. So today I'm going to do a meal prep, and I think it's going to be a little larger meal prep than we've been doing in the past. So today we're going to be making some overnight oats. I have a new skinny syrup I'm dying to show you. I have a new version of the Kodiak muffins we're going to make today, and I'm super excited about giving this one a try. I'm looking over here because I've got a list so I make sure I don't forget anything. I'm going to put together a batch of my taco meat, my turkey taco meat, because that has been a game changer for me during the week and helping me with keeping my lunches prepared and having something quick and ready to go. I'm going to throw together some iced coffee. I ran out this morning, so we're going to prep another batch of that. I am going to put together a Ninja Creamy container, so we're going to get that in the fridge so that during the week I can have some yummy protein ice cream. So we're going to do a different variation of that. And I'm going to get some chicken breast in the oven because, you know, chicken breast, I always like to have that ready to go so that if I want a wrap or if I want to throw it into some, some bowls or anything else, I've got that ready to go. And let me tell you something, again, I know I already said game changer, but it's a game changer to have some of those things prepped and ready to go. So we're gonna turn you around. I'm going to either hit my counter or hit my stove. I haven't decided what order I'm gonna do this in. Maybe we'll do breakfast and lunch and then desserts after that. So I guess we'll jump over to my counter and get started. Don't forget all that good jazz. Give me some thumbs up. Leave me some comments below, and if you're not already subscribed to my channel, I'm getting really close to this next milestone, so if you're not subscribed, hit that little subscribe button there for me and give me and my channel a little bit of support. It's always appreciated, and just like I appreciate you. All right, so with that said, let's jump over and get started with today's meal prep. So the first thing we're going to start with is our overnight oats. We have old-fashioned oats, of course some water, and then the star of the show is going to be this new skinny syrup that I just picked up, and it's the French toast flavor. And I've already tried it. You can notice that the bottle is open, but I've already tried this once and it was absolutely phenomenal. So I'm super excited to get my hands on that. I have my handy dandy little canning. It's just a little tool that you use so that you don't make a mess, but you see that I made a mess anyway. But I'm putting a half cup of oats into each jar. And that seems to be the perfect amount for me. It comes out to be, I think, 3 points. But it's very filling, and sometimes I don't eat it all, but sometimes I do. So it seems like that's the perfect amount for me. Now, for a while, I was measuring out my water, and it just seemed like it really didn't matter. So what I do now is I just fill up the jar and I fill it up just to where it's just over the amount of the oatmeal, and it seems to work out really well. So I'm just filling the jars here, and you're going to notice that it's probably like a pinky fingertip, just the side of your finger. And it seems like if I fill it up just to that point, you'll see I'm showing you here, just a little bit, just a fingertip, that seems to be just enough amount of water. All right, so then now we're going to put in our French toast skinny syrup. This is 0 calories, and I'm putting in 1 tablespoon into each container. What you're going to do then is you're going to put these in your fridge. You're going to let them sit overnight, or at least up to 4 hours. Sometimes I forget to prep these, and then I'll just prep them in the morning when I'm having my coffee and let them sit on my counter for a couple of hours. And it does work. They're not as tender, but you know what, it works for me. So I'm going to go ahead and throw the lids on, and these lids and a lot of the things that I'm using today are linked down below in my Amazon store. It just seems to make things more convenient. So our overnight oats are done. Okay, so the next thing we're going to put together is our Kodiak protein muffins. And I had told you in the intro that I was going to change these up this week from the original recipe. And how I'm going to do that is I'm going to use the dark chocolate Kodiak Power Cakes mix instead of the regular We're also going to need eggs for today's recipe. And you see that we have 3 eggs. We're going to use some baking chips, and these are the sugar-free baking chips. And you can see they're in that fun unicorn pattern. We need 2 bananas. We're going to need some water. You guys like my fancy red water cup there. Some vanilla flavoring or vanilla extract, whatever you have. You're going to need 3 packets of sweetener, any type of sweetener that you have. If you want to, make it sweeter, you can also add in a pump of that skinny syrup if you have some. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and peel our bananas. These were not as ripe as I would like them to be, but you know what? We're going to use what we have. So I'm going to break these up. We're going to put them in a bowl. And then we're going to mash them with a fork. And when we mash them with a fork, it does take a minute, so I'm going to cut out and then I'm going to cut back just to kind of save a little time here. Okay, so we have those all done. We're now going to grab our eggs. And again, we just have 3 eggs. I'm just going to give them a quick little, swish here before I pour that in, just to make sure they mix up and incorporate a little easier. So we're going to get that all mixed in, and then we're going to start to put in the rest of our ingredients. I think that's going to, I don't know, I don't know about you, but I always try to mix my wet ingredients before I put my dry ones in. I don't know if that's a baking rule or just something that I was taught, as I was taught to bake. All right, the next thing we're going to add in is the vanilla extract. And I'm adding in a little more than I should have. I was thinking that it was a tablespoon, but it was not. It was a teaspoon that I needed. So didn't mess with the recipe at all. Actually, I love the vanilla flavoring, so it didn't really matter. Next up, we're going to pop in those 3 packets of sweetener. And just note, I will have this recipe linked below in the comments so that you can find it and you can just take a screenshot of it so that you can make this recipe on your own. It's just so darn good. Okay, so the next thing we're going to add in is that 1/2 cup of water. You see, I'm trying to show you the measurements this time. I'm trying to get a little better with that just in case you are looking at the video and I forget to say it. It just kind of makes it a little easier. So I'm trying to get better with these. And again, today was a big meal prep, so I was trying to be a little more careful with, how I was displaying the items today. All right, so the last thing that we're going to put in, well, the last thing until we get to the baking chips, but we're going to put in that Kodiak Power Cakes. And of course, I have a new box, so I'm going to pause while I open it. All right, we've got our box open. We're going to need 1 1/3 cup of the Kodiak mix. So we're going to go ahead and get that put in there. And I really like just to mix this recipe by hand, because sometimes when you are making, baking recipes, if you over mix it, the dough doesn't come out as, as fluffy, I guess. It does come out just a little bit, more dense. And they are muffins. They're supposed to be a little denser, but I think this hand mixing it really helps. So 1 1/3 cup of the Kodiak mix. We're going to mix all of that together. You can see I'm kind of struggling on which utensil I want to use. So we're going to get this mixed up here. And then I am going to grab my baking pan. So let me get this mixed together and we will come back. Okay, while I am spraying my pan with my favorite butter-flavored cooking spray from Target, I just wanted to give you a quick little tip. If you are baking with the Kodiak waffle mix, it is best after you get it mixed to wait 5 minutes before you do anything with it, because when you wait 5 minutes, it does make the batter thicker. You can see I'm showing you here the batter thickened up because we just waited a few minutes before we poured it right in the pan. So that's a little tip for you if you're ever baking things with this. If you notice that the batter's a little runny, give it 5 minutes and it will definitely thicken up. So not to embarrass myself, but I'm going to go ahead and fill these quickly, and we will come back and get those chocolate chip, the white chocolate chip chips added to our mixture because you know I'm gonna make a mess. Okay, so we have the batter in. We're gonna add those Lily's white chocolate chips. I really hope that they are the same points as the milk chocolate chips because I totally did not scan them. Now, before when I started making this recipe, I was counting out 90 chocolate chips, and then I measured them and found out that they were about a quarter cup. So I'm just gonna call it a day and not worry about if I'm a little bit over. I'm fine with that. You do you, and hopefully you're okay with it too. So I've got those in there, and then once I get all these chocolate chips on there, I'm going to push them down with a fork because when I made them before and I didn't push them down, what happened was they were falling off as I was eating them, and you don't want to lose any of those yummy chips. Once I get this done, I'm going to put them into a 350-degree oven for approximately 22 minutes. Double check those. Sometimes they need a little bit more, but 22 minutes seems to be the sweet spot on these. All right, so I'm gonna grab my fork and I'm just gonna push those chocolate chips down real quick and wait for my kitchen to smell like heaven because I'm telling you, these smell so good when they're baking. Okay, up next we are going to get our iced coffee going, and it seems like my iced coffee seems to be a really, I don't want to say favorite part of my day, but it's one of my favorites. So I just have a quart-sized mason jar here. You can see this is the filter that I purchased off of Amazon. And again, everything is linked in my store, as well as this top here, which really seems to help when I'm pouring out my iced coffee. It's just, they do have one that has a handle on it, but the one with the handle I think would take up too much room in my fridge, so I just prefer the screw-on one. And I mean, the jar's not that big, so I really don't feel that I need the handle for that. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna grab my handy dandy little canning thing so that I can put it in the jar. And if you guys notice what I'm doing here, I almost forgot to put my filter in the jar. I was glad I caught that because I would have had to have rinsed everything out and started over. So filter in the jar. And I was gonna use 2 of my quarter cup measuring cups, but when I looked in there, it looked like it wasn't enough, so I went ahead and added 1 more, and we have 3/4 cup of the coffee grounds in there. And then what we're gonna do next is we're gonna go ahead and pour that water in. So I'm going to move that over a little bit so that you can get a closer look. And when you're pouring the water in, you want to pour that water in slowly because those coffee grounds are going to rise and you don't want to make a mess. So just pour a little bit and then it'll go down, and then just continue pouring till you get to the top of the jar. So what you're going to do is you're going to take the top, you're going to screw that on, and I leave that either in my fridge or on my kitchen counter for 24 hours. I mean, if you have 18 hours and you need it, just do your thing. But up to 18 to 24 hours, and then I just pull the filter out and enjoy my iced coffee. So there you go, super quick and easy. All right, next up, we're gonna go ahead and get our turkey, our turkey taco meat ready. You can see here I have the 99% lean ground turkey, and that is 0 points. And then I have the mild taco seasoning from BJ's Warehouse. This one's actually a really good taco seasoning. I really like the flavor. It mixes in very well. So if you haven't tried that and you have a BJ's Warehouse next to you, definitely give that a try. So I'm gonna go ahead and put my taco meat in here. You know my trick, add some water in to make sure that your taco meat does not dry out. And then I'm gonna take my handy dandy little chopper tool here, and I'm just gonna pop that on. Pampered Chef sells them. I think that this one, I don't know if this is my Pampered Chef one or the one that I got from Menards, but they sell them all over. Pick one up anywhere. You could probably get one on Amazon as well. Just, again, love this tool. It chops up your meat so easy, and I don't know. It's just, it's a handy tool. All right, so I went ahead and browned the meat, and see, that was like quick movie magic there. So I went ahead and got that browned, And I mean, it's really not brown because it turns white. But anyway, it's cooked all the way through. So we're going to go ahead and add in some of that taco seasoning. There is some water in there. When you're cooking the 99% lean, you don't have to worry about draining the grease or anything. I just pop the taco seasoning in here, and then I cook that, and I cook it for a good 5 or 10 minutes just to make sure that those flavors meld very well and it's not so watery. So if you are not a fan of turkey meat, try putting the taco seasoning in it, because I'm telling you right now, you will be totally amazed. So I'm going to go ahead and let this finish. I did add a little bit more because I go by color with this, and plus I didn't measure. Just measure with your heart when you're putting your taco seasoning in. All right, so let's see what's next. Oh boy, so these do not look the prettiest, but let me tell you something, they are delicious. I did taste one off camera, but those chocolate chips, when you're using the white chocolate chips, I guess you just should mix them in the batter because of the fact that they totally melted everywhere. Again, they don't look great, but they taste amazing. All right, next up, we are going to prep our chicken for the week. And I have this chicken. I plan on making some chicken club wraps for my husband. So I just went ahead and made the whole package. Yep, you did see that right. It's over a 6-pound package of chicken, but that's okay. We do eat a lot of chicken. I totally eat a lot of chicken. And again, when you have your chicken prep for the week, it just makes a huge difference. So I'm going to go ahead, and I have my kitchen shears here, and I have my 2 baking sheets ready. I've got a cutting mat, my sharpest knife, and then I'm going to start to trim the chicken. And it just seems like when you, I put on some fancy gloves here. I forgot that I had these gloves, and I really hate touching chicken. I mean, I don't mind touching any other meat. It's just chicken makes my hands feel weird, and it's just, yeah, it made it a little more difficult to do, but anyway, I'm going to go ahead and trim this chicken. I'm going to show you the first piece just because of the fact that some people like to know how small I cut them up. And it just depends on what I'm going to use the chicken for. Sometimes I slice them and I just make them as chicken breast. But I have been lately making them into smaller pieces. Not only do they cook faster, but it's also more versatile to use in different recipes. Again, wraps, bowls, whatever the case may be, but I'm just making them into a little larger than bite-sized pieces. But like I said, you cut them up however you plan to use them throughout the week, because the key to prepping this is to make your life easier and to have your food ready to go during the week. So I'm just tossing them into the pan. So what I'm going to do is I take the first one, I toss in the pan, and just so you know, I did go back and spray the pans because I had forgotten to do that before I put that first chicken breast on. So I just alternated. I cut one up, I threw it in the first pan, and then I cut the second one up, and then I threw it in the other pan just to kind of get an even mishmash of amounts of chicken on there. And I know you're probably thinking, why, Kim? Why did you do that? Well, let me tell you. I have a couple different seasonings I wanted to use. Again, depending on how I planned on, using the chicken, the flavors of the chicken. And I wanted to make one big pan with just some milder flavors. And then I'm just gonna, before I put my seasoning on, I'm just gonna go ahead and give them a quick little spray just to make that seasoning stick a little bit more, and it makes your chicken a little crispier. So the first seasoning we're gonna use, let's just jump into the seasonings. We're gonna use that rotisserie chicken flavor, rotisserie chicken seasoning from McCormick's. And you guys know that I use this one a lot, and I do have a spare one because that one's almost getting empty. Again, one of my favorite seasonings for chicken. So I'm just stirring that in here. I'm going to give it another quick little hit with that seasoning, just to make sure that it does have a good flavor, because you don't want bland chicken. If you're going to enjoy the chicken, season it up to make sure that you are really enjoying it. The next one I'm going to use is this Kinder Buttery seasoning here, and I think I've used this once before, but I wanted to give it another try. If I remember correctly, it was good, but again, I definitely wanted to give that another try, so I'm just using that on a small amount over on the side, on the other side of the pan, just because, again, I didn't want to make too much, because if my memory did not serve me correctly, then I didn't want to have too much chicken with that seasoning. But if I like it, I'm going to put it front and center in my cabinet so that I know to use it again in the future. So again, you see me doing the same thing. I'm just hitting it a second time with that seasoning. Oh, I wanted to show you this one. I think is 0 calories here. Yep, 0 calories. I had forgotten to show you. I forgot to show you that with the first one. The next one I'm going to use is that Shipshawana Happy Salt, and that's like onion powder, garlic powder, salt, pepper. It's just got some of those milder flavors, but it's just an all-in-one seasoning, and it's so good. And my friend Pam turned me onto that seasoning, and I think she actually bought me this one. So thanks, Pam, for the tip on finding that Shipshawana seasoning. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to continue to put that seasoning on the second pan, and you notice that's the biggest amount of chicken that I'm using for that one, because again, it's just an all-around flavor that you can use. If I want to throw barbecue sauce on it, I can still do that, and it's the flavors are going to meld really well. All right, so I'm putting these into a 400-degree oven for about 35-40 minutes. Just watch it. I checked it after 30 minutes and just put it in for an extra 10 minutes. And that was good to go. So I'm going to go ahead and get this in the oven, and then I will come back. Okay, so here is our chicken. I'm going to let it cool on the stove for a few minutes before I put it into our containers, because I like to have the food fully cooled before I do that. And then I'm going to get these dirty pans into the sink to soak, because they actually clean up really quick and easy, but it's better to get them soaking quick. So chicken is done. Okay, the last thing that I'm going to put together is our Ninja Creamy mixture. So I have 12 ounces of water in here. I'm going to be putting in some vanilla protein powder, and I think that one is my Quest protein powder. I have sugar-free, fat-free vanilla Jello mix, 1 packet of orange crush, and what I'm going for is like a creamsicle vibe with this orange crush packet. So we're just going to start throwing things together. Oh yeah, and my Ninja Creamy little container here that we use to freeze things in. So I'm going to screw off the top of my jar. You can see that I have my little frother blender stick over there. We're going to throw in 1 scoop of the vanilla protein powder, and that scoop is going to be 1 Smart Point. So I want to keep you posted on this. 1 Smart Point for that. And then you guys notice these new tops that I got. They're bamboo tops. Again, Amazon. I was very excited to find these, because you don't want to unscrew things that you use all the time. So I'm very, like I said, super excited to find those. So we have 2 tablespoons of the pudding mix, and I think that's 2 more points. So that's 3 points total. The orange crush mix is 0. So we're going to go ahead and blend this really quick. So we have a 3-point mixture right here. So we're going to have an entire container of ice cream that has, I think, 30 grams of protein for 3 points. So I normally will eat half and then eat the other half the next day, but it is amazing to have a high protein ice cream snack at night. You do have to think ahead. You got to put these in the freezer. I do have 4 containers, but you have to put them in the freezer for 24 hours. But let me tell you something. I always try to keep at least 1. Here's the fill lines. You just want to make sure you don't go over the fill line if you have not used a Ninja Creamy before. I picked mine up at Target. They sell them at Target, Kohl's, Amazon, everywhere. So I recommend this machine. Not sponsored, just bought it on my own. Love it. So I'm going to get this into the freezer, and I think this was our last item. All right, here's one last look at my meal prep. I have that Ninja Creamy in the freezer. Here are those muffins. Again, I've got those tops skewed so that they can continue to cool. My iced coffee, my 3 things of overnight oats. Now with those overnight oats, I'm going to add fresh strawberries and blueberries to those. You can see that I have my chicken here. That's that small container of that buttery seasoning. And then I have my 2 other ones down here below. And then I have my turkey taco meat here in the front. So again, it's a larger meal prep than I normally do, but I'm super excited to be prepared for the week. And with that said, I want to thank you for watching. Hope that you get some good meal prep in this week, and we will see you next video.